Let's speak to our Brussels correspondent, Dave Keating. Hello to you, Dave. It seems that whether it's day one or today, the tensions between France and Germany have really been overshadowing this summit.
Yeah, as ever with these EU summits, there's what's on the agenda and then there's what's dominating the conversations in the hallways. And what's dominating the conversations here right now is this issue over the EU's planned ban on sales of new cars with combustion engines powered by fossil fuels after 2035. Germany launched a last-minute objection to this law even after an agreement had been reached and they had approved it back in November. Now Germany has changed its mind. France and others are quite angry about this. So this morning, French President Emmanuel Macron is meeting with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, just in that room behind me there, to try to come to some kind of compromise. Now, one idea that's been floated for compromise is that separate type approval legislation could deem cars using e-fuels, that is liquid fuel that's generated from electricity but uses combustion engines, to still be eligible after 2035. So combustion engines could still be made, but they would have to run on e-fuels. That is a controversial solution that actually the Germans don't seem very thrilled with because it's in separate legislation. On the French side, it's thought that if Macron can get a concession from Germany, that Germany will back the designation of nuclear power as a green fuel that can be used by the EU as a tool to fight climate change, then he could agree to this compromise on e-fuels after 2035. Macron desperately needs some kind of good news, considering what's happening here at home. So he may be tempted to take that deal. However, there would also be the concern that the blowback from him accepting a watering down of that 2035 combustion engine ban might not go over so well with the French public. And it's not really clear whether the people who are out on the streets in France would care if he comes back with a nuclear power concession from Germany. So we'll see if this meeting that's happening this morning can yield any kind of solution. Even if they do come to an agreement between Macron and Scholz, there's no guarantee that others will accept it. They still need other EU member states to be on board with that, and the European Parliament, which right now is furious with Germany going back on what they previously agreed. So there's a lot of tension on this subject today. Let's see if they can find a compromise by the end of the day.
And Dave, what's on the agenda for the rest of the day?
Today is really dedicated to the economy. This is going to be dedicated to the Eurozone, actually. So it's the prime ministers from the Eurozone. European Central Bank Chief Christine Lagarde is going to brief them specifically on the global banking jitters, we could say, if it hasn't already entered the term crisis. The EU prime ministers, the Eurozone prime ministers, want to be reassured that the banking troubles in the United States and Switzerland are not going to bleed over into the EU. Switzerland, of course, is just next door. And while Switzerland is in the EU's internal market, it does have an exemption for financial services. So Lagarde has been keen to stress, no, that this ring-fenced, Switzerland is not part of the EU system, and so therefore there isn't going to be contagion. Not everyone is so convinced because Switzerland is still part of the EU single market for goods. So I think they want words of reassurance from Lagarde today, and then we'll see afterwards when they give their final press conferences whether she was able to reassure them.
All right, Dave. Thank you very much. Dave Keating reporting from Brussels.